Welcome to Make and Take Tuesday. This is a little weekly series where I introduce a new paper collection, tool, product, technique, and we make something fun together. Today we're working with Stamperia's beautiful Rose Parfum collection. This came out toward the end of 2022, and I'm a sucker for vintage rose patterns, probably because I spent a lot of time in my grandmother's house growing up, and she had beautiful cabbage roses on her upholstery and her wallpaper and in her garden. So I was drawn to this beautiful collection. Of course, the aquas and the pinks and the creams are just beautiful. This is the 8x8. I also have the 12x12, but I've been chopping that one into pieces, so I thought I would show you the 8x8. It is just so elegant, so beautiful. All these gorgeous roses and flowers. I love the wild roses. They're some of my favorite. Beautiful perfume bottles, text, imagery, really, really, really gorgeous. So I thought, well, what shall we make? And I thought, well, let's make a tea party in a box. This kind of seems like tea party paper. Here's the 12x12 patterns, background patterns. These are also stunning, absolutely stunning, with these beautiful, all these different shades of rose and pink. This is probably my favorite sheet. As you can see, I've already been working with it. But I love like the torn wallpaper, old wallpaper effects, things like that. Just beautiful. So I thought y'all would like a close look at this so you can see kind of what's in it. Lots of possibilities with this collection. It would make a beautiful mini album. But I didn't have time to do a mini album. I love all the fussy cuts. And I always love that on the back covers, they have border pieces, and I always use those. They're wonderful. And I've also been known to cut up this part of the front cover and use it as well because it's also pretty. I also, they have, one of their new things that they're doing is rub-ons, and I love rub-ons, so I grabbed a couple of those. And then they have chipboard stickers, which I thought looked interesting, so I grabbed those. And then I also got this wonderful die-cut ephemera pack. I just have this sorted out in my little tray. This is a lot of pieces and just so many beautiful images. Perfume bottles, there's words, there's florals, there's just a lot in here, so that's a good thing too. All right, so what are we gonna make? I thought we would make a tea party in a box card, but I want to focus my tutorial today on this little pull-out section inside the front cover. We'll build the front cover together, but I want to focus on this little mechanism in here because this is a fun one, and a lot of you have asked, how do I do this? So our card base to begin with is 6 1/4, and it's a square card, mostly square. What I did was I cut from an 8.5 by 11, I cut 6 1/4 by 11. Then I took another sheet of this pale blush cardstock. It's almost cream. It's very beautiful. And I cut it 6.5 by 8.5. And you can see where I joined these together on the back, just like we always do. And then I scored this. The front cover on a box pocket card always wants to be just a tiny bit longer than the back because that will make the card sit nicely. So after I joined my papers together, I went ahead and I scored at 6.5, and I scored at almost 7 1/4, about 7 1/8, to make this 5/8 of an inch spine. And then I came down here from that 7 1/8, and I scored again. This time at 6 1/4, because remember the back is always shorter, and then folded that and then scored at 5/8, and then this forms our pocket. And then I just made little folded gussets. I don't know if you can see inside the pocket, rather than doing the whole add-on box pocket. I had the length to go ahead and just fold this up and then just add in the sides. So on the sides, what is that? It was almost 2 inches, and I just scored 5/8, 5/8, and then folded along the scored lines and adhered. And that made our box pocket super easy way to make. And if you look back at some of my other box pocket tutorials, you'll see how I make it this way. Then lining this, I've got the craft on the inside at 6 1/8. The olive green is 5 7/8, and the patterned paper is 5 3/4. And of course, I don't go down to the bottom because you don't see it, and that saves me paper. So on the top, the same thing. Our card base, remember, is 6 1/4. Then the craft is 6 1/8, and this actually needs to be longer. It is also 6 1/4. And then the olive green is 6 by 6 1/8. Then I cut this little strip from my scraps. This was just a scrap, 6 1/4 inches, and I scored it 3 1/8 inch lines, and I put it down here. I went into my backgrounds and I cut this one piece, okay, into two 12. I believe this is 5 3/4. Oops, I lied. It is 5 7/8. And I joined them. I overlapped and joined. You can see there's the joint. And then I scored them at every, I believe, 5 3/4 inches. Yes, I scored every 5 3/4 inches, and that left me with this little flap. And this is going to sit back here on our base, and that's going to hold this accordion panel in place. So we take our adhesive, we put it on this little flap, we center this up on our olive green, all right, then open this up, and I've cut another panel from the backgrounds. This is 5 3/4 by 5 7/8, and this is going to adhere right above this flap, and this covers up our little mechanism. So now we've got this. So this is sort of almost like, it's almost like a mini album. I mean, it's kind of a hybrid. I call them card folios. It's kind of a hybrid between a card and a folio. And these are really fun to give because people don't expect this. All right, so see, there's that. And now this pulls out like this, and you've got 4 panels here, and you've got 5 panels here. So that's pretty cool. That's a lot of room for photos or journaling or whatever you want to add there. So now we're just going to add our magnets here for this closure. And these are basic gray small discs. They have a little adhesive spot on them, and they're also marked negative and positive. So I'm going to put this magnet down. Somehow I ended up with all negatives, so we'll have to get a little creative here. I always put a little piece of score tape down to secure that. And then this is 2 3/4 by 1 3/8. It's just a scrap. I've inked it up with my Gathered Twigs Distress ink. I'm going to peel this adhesive off, and we're just going to line this up. Just like that. And then we're going to take our other magnet, and normally it wouldn't do that. So what I'm going to, it would be a positive. I don't know how I ended up with all negatives, but that's what I have. So I'm going to take a little piece of score tape, press it on the back of my magnet, peel back the liner, and then when I press this over, it's going to catch right there. And that's going to make our magnetic closure for this little pull-out folio. It's kind of a fun design, don't you think? This would be a great gift to give at a bridal shower, or of course that's what's on my mind, at a wedding, or even like for Mother's Day, or any special event, any special birthday, because then you could put pictures of the birthday party in there. So that's kind of fun. So this flaps over, and that's going to catch. And then we have another 2 3/4 by 1 3/8 inch scrap to go here on our little mechanism. All right, just like that. So now we're going to decorate the cover of this. So now let's decorate this little fella here. I've taken one of our chipboard, beautiful chipboard roses to go right here on our mechanism, just to kind of soften up those edges. And then this is one of the images from the 12 by 12, and I've just matted it on some of that blush. I was going to make this a pocket, but you really can't make this be a pocket because of the magnet that's there for the closure. So this is just an image. And we're just going to glue this down. Just like this. And I just want to show you an idea for covering up those places where we joined our 12 by 12 papers. This is another image. I'm using the back side of it because I want it to be like a journaling card. And I've cut little gussets 1 inch wide that are coincide with the sides of the paper. Fold them in half, and then this goes in here, and you've got this great little gusseted pocket. This gives you a spot for journaling, and then you can also tuck in a little photo mat. So that's kind of sweet. I'll show you how to add the gussets. So here's our image all trimmed out. I've inked the edges. I've got this piece of craft, and I know it's 1 inch wide, but I'm not sure how long it is. I just kind of eyeballed it, but I know y'all like measurements. So this is just over 5 1/4. And this time our seam is on the left-hand side of the page, so we're going to make our pocket open to the right. So when you apply these, the folded edge of your gusset always goes against the cut side of your paper. So you're really just adding, some people call them hinges. I call them gussets. It's like a hinge, it's a gusset, it's a flap. Whatever you want to call it, it does its job. And that's the important thing. So this one goes on the top. And I kind of use my fingers as a guide because I don't want the gussets to show from the outside. So I tuck them in like this. All right. And then just fold those down and put your adhesive on the top flap. And we've got our beautiful lady right there, and then another photo mat. All right, so down this side, I'm going to take one of these rub-ons, and I'll show you if you've never worked with a rub-on before. This is kind of how I do it. You can do it your way. I'm going to choose this because it matches my pocket on the bottom of the card, and I'm just cutting through both layers like this. And I'm going to cut, let's do both of these. I think that would be really pretty. then I'm going to measure this. And I want to cut this right here. So I can use these little pieces somewhere else, like a little on a tag or something. And then you peel the back off like this. And you place your rub-on. And then come in with a bone folder or a popsicle stick or a stylus. And you're pressing these into place. And they have a slightly sticky quality to them, not like tape, but a sort of adhesive quality. Let's peel this back, see if we got, so I actually like it a little bit not perfect. See, isn't that pretty? So we added a layer of pattern and design without adding any thickness, which is kind of fun. So that finishes that. And of course, down here, I'll put all my goodies in my little box pocket. So now we'll finish the cover. So you can see I've already prepared my basic layers. I started with a piece of craft that is 6 1/8 by 6 3/8. And then I took the olive green, and this is 5 7/8 by 6, almost 6 1/4. And then our patterned paper is 5 3/4 by 6. And I stitched those together on my sewing machine. And then I just dry brushed the edges with some ivory paint. And then I went searching in my stash and I found some goodies. And now we're going to play. I found this beautiful antique doily. So I like the way this looks with this collection. I've been saving this for something special. And I think this is it. I'm just going to put some adhesive down on this. You can see right away, this makes this piece feel gloriously vintage, which I'm super excited about. So there's that. Then I have this little piece, little scrap. I'm just going to kind of lay this out and see where I want to go with it. I have this chipboard vase, and these I've also dry brushed. I've got this So I'm just kind of playing with how I want this arranged, right? I'm going to save this for the inside because I don't want to completely cover up this beautiful doily. I just need a little bit of and I think maybe I don't even want to use that since I have this pretty piece here. So let's glue this down. Right about here. I'm going to show you how to alter this key very quickly because I don't want the silver. I want to keep everything kind of shabby. So I've just got some chalk paint and I'm just brushing this on. Just like that. And I want to hit this and make this a little more, I want the colors to match. So I'm going to hit this with some paint also. All right, let's bring this in. I have this little tiny memories chipboard. So I'm going to lift this petal here. And I'm going to lift this petal here and just press that in place. I've got a little glue on the back. Then I tie this really pretty coral rose check bow. This is one of my favorite shades of pink from Really Reasonable Ribbon. I guess we'll just do it right there. And I'll fuss that a little bit more after the glue sets up. And then I tied a little iridescent string bow. All right. I'm just going to leave that alone until it sets up. And I'll clean up the glue webs later, my goodness. So on my little keyhole, I put a little foam tape on the back. Just go right here. I just want to add down here along the bottom some little beads. We're done. I think that's good. I'll probably find a little button to go right, a little pearl button to go right on top of our bow. But I think really that's it. And then this just has to be glued onto the cover and fill the pocket. I'll be back to show you it completed in just a moment. I'm going to show you how I add spatters. I've just taken some paint on my brush and I'm thinning it out with a little water. All right, and then I'm just going to tap. If you get too much, you can come in and you can dab it up. See? So you've got a lot of control. You can practice this with a magazine page, you know, a picture you cut out of a magazine if you're nervous to do it with your finished card. You can practice it that way until you get good at it. But you can always come in, see, and just clean away the parts that maybe look like too much to you, like that. So, and it just adds a really, really lovely vintage sort of artsy finish, kind of like painting the edges. All right, guys, we're all finished. I've got my cover put on the front. You can see I've got my little key, the pretty keyhole, all these beautiful shabby features. I did add a little button on top of the knot of my bow. Our little beads are drying. They're not quite there, so I'm going to handle this with a little bit of care. Then on the inside, we've got our wonderful folio that we created. And down here in our pocket, I turned this heart into like a little charm. There's a honey stick. There's a beautiful silver spoon, a honey dipper, a chai tea bag, a Ghirardelli chocolate, and some cookies. So everything you need for a tea party for one. Really, really sweet. I just want to show you, this is in the little envelope that you cut out of the 8x8, and I just wrapped baker's twine around it so that it would hold together. That is such a sweet little feature. So there you go, guys. This is our Make and Take Tuesday for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll give this a try. Again, I'll put a link in the description box to a couple of pocket tutorials so you can learn how to do these box pockets in case if you're new. But that's it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Go get your craft on.